It's showtime.
Hello and welcome back to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts Tim
and LJ, and today and every week we will be talking musicals, but specifically what they taught us.
Hooray! We're back.
We're back. Did you miss us?
It's only been a week, Lord.
But some people are in demand, like as in we're in demand. Some people are like, I wish there was more than one a week.
Oh my goodness, no. we are very busy people.
Could you imagine?
No, I enjoy this moment of my week every week, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's nice.
It is turning into therapy. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I keep saying rehab, and really that's the wrong word to use. It's therapy. It's not rehab. Like, I am okay, folks. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, well, no, because I listened back to the last episode, and I was like, I keep saying I'm really loving this. This is like my rehab, and I'm like, but it's not rehab. This is my therapy. So then I'm thinking, to listeners out there, are they really concerned about me or something? That he's like,
that you're in rehab?
Yeah. So no, it's like therapy. Yeah.
Nice therapy.
Nice
that
therapy.
You choose to go to.
Or mindfulness. Let's go for mindfulness. It's good mindfulness.
That's it.
Yeah. How are you coping with this weather?
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's so lovely. Yeah. So for all our listeners around the world, so we live in Northern Ireland, and it doesn't really, it's not very sunny very often.
No,
it rains. It rains quite a lot, and it's like quite cold. And we've had about a period of like 2 weeks where it's just been so warm and sunny that we all kind of don't know what to do with ourselves. We're like, our body isn't built for this. Well, my body's not built for this heat. I feel I'm a constant state of like
sweat.
Yeah.
No, the weather's meant to go on for like another week.
Bring it on.
I know.
I'm starting to acclimatise to it now, so like if it changes next week, I'll be really annoyed.
Yeah, and it will. I bet you as soon as school finishes, that's it.
Well, that's great, thanks.
I'm just
Being
saying.
a school teacher, that's exactly what we want to hear.
I'm off this summer too, so I mean, like...
Oh, happy days.
Yeah.
Good.
It'll be...
So the heat is on in more places than just Saigon then,
That's right,
Did you see what I did there? Anyway, fast forward to this week. It's slightly different again. We're bucking the trend here a wee bit.
We're mixing it up, keeping you all on your toes.
What are we going to do this week, Lauren?
I think we'll do double acts.
Yeah, this is our episode on those dream double acts that we have experienced in musical theatre. Now, double act characters rather than like, performing double acts. Yeah.
Like two people that go together.
Yeah.
Or maybe have like moments on stage.
Butter and jam.
Yes.
That's a rubbish analogy, isn't it? Butter and jam.
Butter and... I feel like you could have chosen a better one.
Yeah, what would you say?
Clotted cream and jam on a scone.
Oh, no, let's not get into this debate. What comes first and all the rest of it.
Or peanut butter and jam.
Peanut butter and jam. Or Americans peanut butter and jelly. Is that a...
Yeah. Or marshmallows and chocolate.
Oh, yeah, especially in s'mores. So on the barbecues at the moment, with all this lovely weather. Yeah. Salt and pepper.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a dream double act.
Yeah.
So if we take that and we put it into our musicals. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the beginning of our episode. We're going to talk about those like iconic, or in our opinion, those iconic dream double acts or partnerships that are in musicals. So we're going to pick our top 5.
Yeah.
Each, and we'll take it in turns, and then we've got a bit of a musical lyrical lingo based on a musical that has possibly one of the best musical double acts.
Absolutely.
So we'll do that in the middle, and then at the end, to top off this lovely episode, we're going to talk about our dream double acts for us, the double acts that we think we would be it would be fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got a few of them each. And we don't know any... I don't know LJ's double acts.
I'm actually really excited.
LJ doesn't know mine. So it's going to be an interesting episode, which could be 3 hours long. But we're...
Could you imagine?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of thought, I was like, we need to limit the number that we say, or it could become...
So you never know, this could be a part 2.
There could be a part 2. We'll see how it goes. So shall we start with our iconic double acts from musical theatre?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Okay.
Ladies first.
I'll go first. So not necessarily number 1, but the first one that I'm going to talk about is Sweeney Todd and Miss Lovett from Sweeney Todd.
I got that on my list too. Let me just scribble it out.
Sorry.
Go for it. So why are they such an amazing double act?
I think it all comes down to whenever you think about who do you think have maybe played those roles like iconically.
Yeah.
And I think it's always been really strong female characters, or just in general, they're just really strong females. And I hate this musical, by the way. It scares me.
You don't like Sweeney Todd?
No, it really terrifies me. There's about 5 which really do not make me feel good at all, and Sweeney Todd is one of them.
Oh, I mean, like, the premise of the musical is scary. Like, he cuts people's throats. And then she chops them up and puts them into pies. Like,
I know.
Yeah, it's not cheery. It's not bedtime reading.
No,
that's for sure.
Definitely not. It doesn't make me feel good whenever I walk away from it.
So it's weird that would be, like, such an iconic double act comes from such a dark, gruesome musical, I suppose.
I think that's it. I think between them, I always feel there's a little bit of hope. I feel that they're both 2 very lost souls, and they almost find each other okay in a roundabout, disturbing way. Yeah. But they really lean on each other for that comfort, that
moral support.
Yeah, and also they probably have cut themselves off from the world for so long that they haven't had an emotional connection.
Yeah.
So that really comes out.
Sweeney Todd has been absent, hasn't he? He comes back into Fleet Street. Yeah. They were on my list because I think in such a dark musical, some of their duets provide such light moments and funny moments, like the song where they're talking about what they could put into the pies.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
is so funny. I think it needs it, or else it would be really dark and really gruesome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Mrs. Lovett as a character is probably, if I was an actress, like it would definitely be up there with a character I'd want to play, because I think she's just such a well written. Like, Sweeney's well written too, but I'm never going to be like a big vocal Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, so that's
whereas Lovett is really funny. Yeah, really good double act.
You didn't watch it, but I do recommend it to anybody out there. Schmigadoon, which is on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And in the second series, they go into more darker musicals. So the first series is more about like your Oklahomas and your Seven Brides, Seven Brothers, more like sort of upbeat. And then the second series is more dark, and they do a really funny take on Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett, but also taken into consideration, or they also use parts of Annie and Oliver as well. Okay. So it's the kids that they are chopping up to put into them.
Goodness.
It sounds a wee bit more gruesome than what it is, but also just how they're able to take the essence of those characters from that musical and turn it on its head slightly. It just shows you how wonderful that partnership is. Yeah,
it's brilliant. Yeah, it's a perfect double act. Very good. Yeah. Number 1 on our list.
Yeah.
So my first dream double act or iconic double act is Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly from Chicago.
My number 2.
Oh, is it? I got in there first.
Love it.
Yeah. I think individually, what I love about them individually as characters, they're so brilliant.
Yeah.
But then it just makes when they come together, or when they have, because they don't like each other to start off with. Like their competition and it's jealousy, isn't it? And they, you know, so that's like one dynamic of the partnership. And then when Velma realizes she kind of needs Roxy to kind of still be in the limelight, relevant. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That then it takes on a whole new, and I love that song that Velma does, But I Can't Do It Alone, where she's basically pleading with Roxy to like join with her in like a double act, like a vaudeville double act. Yeah, I love that musical for a start. It's definitely up there with probably my top 5. And it hasn't ever really changed, you know what I mean? If you've seen it in the West End and you go back, it's exactly the same production. And the same for the UK tour. Like, it hasn't been given, you know, a different slant or a different take on it. It's kind of set in stone as to, this is Chicago, this is how it's done. It's very stylistic. And yet it doesn't get boring. You know, I've seen it loads of times and I'm like, no, but I still love this musical. Mm-hmm. Like, I would go back and back. And
I do think a huge part is those characters.
100%, yeah.
Because of where they are when the musical starts and then what they end up at the end, you know. So it's, it sort of comes, not full circle, but it's a lovely ending for them.
Yeah, in a way, exactly. And to start the musical so opposed to each other, to then end it so together as a team. What's your favourite song in that, of the girls?
Out of the two of them?
Or just in the musical?
I think in the musical, I love We Both Reach for the Gun.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh yes, we both.
I love that. But I think I love that because, you know, it's about manipulation and how they're changing the story for Roxy to, you know, make sure that she gets off. And then...
So corrupt.
Oh, yeah.
Not that doesn't happen in real life.
Nowadays, that is just wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah. I like Nowadays too.
I would often find myself humming that song.
Okay,
so I think it must be one that's just in my brain. And it makes me feel nice. You know, I like that song.
Yeah, no, you're right. As a show, I think all of the characters are so well. There's not a lot of, like, there isn't a big, long front lineup of characters, but they're all so perfectly written. But when Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly join forces, they make an unstoppable double act.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we really are on the same wavelength. Like, this is why we've been friends for so long.
So actually, this episode might not be as long as we first thought, because we both have the same. We might run out in like 2 minutes' time. What's your second one then? Or a second one that I haven't stolen?
Oh, let's hope. Elder Price and Elder Cunningham.
Oh my goodness.
No way. Yes. No way. Okay, I have not seen Book of Mormon.
I have.
But I have listened to that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I probably listen to that about 3 times a month. Like,
really?
I love it.
Funny, it's a soundtrack that I obviously have listened to, but I haven't listened to it in a long time. I might have to revisit it, actually.
I love it. Yeah. And I will play it sometimes all throughout the house, and Aaron will still listen to it. He's a massive, would enjoy that style of humour, like South Park and all of that. And I'm sure we'll do an episode on Book of Mormon because it's great.
So we won't talk about too much.
Okay. But I just love Elder Price.
Yeah.
I just love that character. It was almost like all of them you just want to slap. You know, that sort of, but...
and remind me, which is which, so I don't get them confused. Is Elder Price the one that takes it really seriously? Or is that the funny sidekick?
No, funny sidekick is Elder Cunningham.
Okay,
Yes. I'm getting confused. I am right. Because, no, Elder Cunningham, you
can't make things up.
So... I love how Price just sings that song. We're going to change the world, but it's going to mostly be me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's just so self-absorbed. It's just brilliant. It's just really great.
And Cunningham is so unfamiliar or doesn't quite get that he's not really wanted by his Mormon partner.
No.
Yeah. Like, clear off. I'm okay on my own. Leave me alone. And Cunningham's all like, yay!
Be my friend.
Yeah, I have a new buddy.
But I think that because they are so different, then that partnership works really well.
Yeah, true.
And I suppose we can't go into too much without talking about the musical, but sort of it really highlights areas. It is obviously taking the mick out of a religion.
Which can be quite you see, it blows my mind that a musical that is kind of the premise for the musical, let's be honest, is so successful. Like everywhere. It's not even as if it's accepted in this country, but it's an absolute no-no. Do you know what I mean? Like it was massive in Broadway. Yeah. It's still in London. How long's it? It's been running a long time in the West End. And yet you still are fighting for tickets. Do you know they still do those like day tickets? Yeah. Because it amazes me that because maybe we shouldn't talk about too much because there will be an episode. There will be because there's loads to talk about.
Yes. So.
But a great duo.
Yeah, fab duo. And actually, you could probably say there's a couple of duos in Book of Mormon, but I think they're
I kind of thought that when I was thinking about this episode, I was like, oh, but you could say those two. Yes. And then there's maybe one character that's kind of linked to two other characters, and you're like, well, which is the more significant or which has the most impact? So I kind of went with the more... Yeah. And I tried to stay away also from like romantic duos because that's a totally different thing, isn't it? True. So we haven't had any lovers yet, actually.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So I'm taking Elder Price and Cunningham off my list. Okay.
Oh, I love this. Love it. Okay.
So my number 2 is... Okay, I'll choose one that I don't think will be on your list.
Okay, I'm dying to know.
So my next one, which is really close to my heart, is Cornelius Hackle and Barnaby Tucker in Hello, Dolly.
Okay. No, I don't have that.
Oh, yay. I got one she didn't get. Teacher. So I did Hello, Dolly. Funny, I auditioned to play Barnaby and then ended up getting Cornelius.
Okay.
So they both work in the same hardware store. They haven't experienced life very much. And they all of a sudden go on this whirlwind, like, adventure. And they're both as daft as each other because of just lack of experience. And they meet two girls and they fall in love with one of them each. And it's just hilarious. Like, they're so daft and so stupid and so wide-eyed, bushy-tailed and eager to, like, I think they have one day off from the hardware store because they work for Mr. Van de Gelder, who's a real battle axe and works them to the bone. So they're like, we're going to, like, do everything we can in this one day. The songs are brilliant that they sing together. There's that song Out There, where they're like, out there, there's a world. Okay. And they're like just loving life. So I think probably from personal memories, I have great memories of that show and of my Barnaby that played opposite me. And it's a real bromance. It's, two characters that are really close. And I love characters that it's a bit like a tennis match. You kind of bounce off each other. Do you know what I mean? The ball goes back and forward between them. And I think they're a perfect wee dynamic duo. I love them. And the same applies in that musical to the girls then. Do you know, there's like the two girls that the two boys meet. They're kind of like their own wee double act. You've got Dolly Levi, who then is a bit of a double act with Van de Gelder, and it's like a tour de force too. It's like it seems to be a musical that's just made up of those like
little
lovely pockets of like dynamic duos. But I would say Cornelius and Barnaby Tucker are the best duo in the show. So there you go.
Lovely.
That's my second one, Cornelius Hackle.
Love it.
And Barnaby Tucker. Tucker.
Okay.
What are you doing now?
Maureen and Joanne from Rent.
Okay, right. Go for it.
Okay, and
tell us all.
Okay, so they are Maureen whenever you start Rent, and again we'll probably do an episode on Rent, so we'll not go into too much.
100%.
Yeah. So Maureen at the beginning we know was going out with a man, and then now is going out with Joanne.
Yeah.
And you can sort of tell from the way that Maureen is talked about that she is dramatic and over the top, and that Joanne is
a bohemian.
Yes, and Joanne is not like, there's sort of like comments about she's now with Joanne, like what, like those type of things. So they have the most wonderful song, and I think it has to be in the top 10.
I would agree with you. What's it
called?
Best
songs. Take Me or Leave Me.
Take Me or Leave Me. Yeah, you all need to go and listen to it. I would agree with you. It's definitely up there with one of the best musical songs ever written. Yeah. It
is wonderful.
Yeah. I think what works for that duo is because they're so ridiculously opposite. They're such polar opposites, as you say. Maureen she's an artiste.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so she's completely cookie, and like she just needs to be left to let her creative juices flow. And Joanne, like
holds a lawyer,
down,
isn't she?
Holds down a serious job. Not that, oh God, that sounds like artists aren't serious, but
no.
But like,
doesn't have that creative flair as such, as in that could just do a show at 8:00 at night. Like sort of has appointments 9 to 5, and we understand not everybody here in those roles will be similar, but just for these two characters are one's very to the point, and the other would be much more flexible and fluid with choices.
And they spend most of the show like
arguing
in conflict. Do you know what I mean? But yet they really love each other, and they're right for each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because Joanne probably grounds her the way that she needs it, and that's why maybe other relationships haven't worked out.
She's being held to account for some of her really just daft behaviour. Yeah. We all need someone like that in our life, don't we?
Yes.
To stop us from running away with ourselves.
That's it.
Well, seeing you did
Rent,
a dynamic duo from Rent, I'm going to give you my one that was on my list. So this is also from Rent, but mine is Angel and Collins.
Oh.
I know, and that's exactly the reaction I have. And it's one of the first times a duo really caught me.
Right, okay.
And I went, oh my goodness. So Angel, they meet each other.
Yeah.
At near within the first 10 minutes of the musical. They didn't know each other until this moment, and they basically fall in love. Angel's a bit like Maureen in that Angel does drag, is a performer, is a bit crazy and free and outlandish, and Collins is a teacher. I think he's a teacher, isn't he? And he teaches in NYU. There we go. I couldn't remember the college. And they just fall in love. But then Angel dies from AIDS, and that.
Oh, it is heartbreaking.
That's also, I think, up there with one of the best songs ever written in musical theatre. Collins' I'll Cover You, which he sings when he loses Angel. And it's just like, it really cements just how solid and strong and loving a duo they were. I said we weren't doing romantic.
I know.
But I suppose that's the most romantic from my list. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
But that song is like, wow. And that relationship was just like, oh, that's really lovely.
And I want to talk about it more, but I don't, because I want to give Rent a full
We will give
episode.
It its full.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. What are we on? Is this 3? No, hold on. I've done 1, 2. We're on 4 now.
Okay. I'm going to choose, Penny and Tracy from Hairspray.
Okay. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really love Hairspray.
Yep.
But I love that friendship because Tracy is such a strong, this is what I want to do. I'm going to dance on the Corny Collins show. And Penny has a really controlling mother, and she just wants to love life. Yeah. She just wants to have that freedom that she just wants to be able to do, but she's so rebellious, and I love it. But I love that Penny just supports Tracy, and you don't always get you know, I think in a natural way where there's, you know, two best friends are really, really rooting for each other. And that Penny is just, yeah, okay, I'm going to support you. This is what you want to do. Okay, I'm going to follow along. But also she has some strong views too. And I just love them. I just think that they're cute together. And I believe their friendship. I think maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I really believe that they are best friends and that they have each other's interests at heart and that they will be there till the death.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. Controversial comment here, but I think Penny's the best character in Hairspray.
Oh, I don't think that's controversial. I like that.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Well, not agree, but you see, there's just something about her, where she starts and where she finishes. Yeah. And I think Tracy's a huge part of that. So there we go. Yeah. Perfect duo. Okay, my number 4 is the sisters, Violet and Daisy Hilton, out of a musical called The Sideshow.
Okay, right. So I only know a little bit about this, but
I've never seen it. I would love to see a production of it, but it's one of those soundtracks or cast recordings that I have listened to over and over and over again. And then a couple of years ago, they did a Broadway revival, and then I fell in love with it all over again because it was a fresh, new, cast recording of it. So it basically, the premise of the show is they're conjoined twins, and they get into well, I can say this, it's not offensive because it's in the show. They join a freak show or a traveling show. As a novelty, and people to come and look at them Coney Island style back in the day. That's when it was kind of set. But then because they do so well, there's then the talk of maybe separating them.
Okay.
And that's when you see the real duo, because then they themselves battle between whether they want to be separated, because they also meet different men and they want to kind of have a conventional relationship, and they can't because they're joined to the other. But some of their duets are unbelievable.
Yeah, I need to listen. Yeah. I've only read about that show and sort of not seen bits, but probably just read articles on it, and it did intrigue me. Yeah. Are they based on a real story? Or
I think it is. Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, I do think so.
So it might have been more that I read more about the real girls, and then seeing that there was a musical on it. But
there's a song they sing called "I Will Never Leave You," and the emotion that just from listening to it, you're like going, "Oh my goodness, this would be unbelievable to see live." So a bit of a different one there.
Okay, so is this my 5th?
This is your last one for this episode anyway. I know, pick wisely. I know I'm now looking at my book going, I've got 4. Which one do I choose for my final?
Okay, I'm going to go with this because I think I prefer this musical. Okay. White Christmas, Bob Wallace and Phil Davis.
Happy holidays, happy holidays.
So, I love White Christmas.
Do you?
Do you not?
I could give or take it, to be honest.
All right, well, we're doing an episode on that.
Are we? Why do you like them? And give us a bit of a backstory as to who they are and what they do.
So White Christmas, it starts off and they are in the war, and they're while they're in the army, they're also entertaining the troops. Yeah. And then the war ends and they have become successful, producers and also acts. They're then sent a letter, and they thought that it comes from an old army mate to go and watch these sisters perform. Yeah. They go and watch these sisters perform, and then find out that actually one of the girls sent the letter, just to kind of see them. They then decide to help the girls out. They're in a bit of bother. And they all go up to Vermont for Christmas. But it shows that there's no snow. There's no snow. And whenever they arrive in Vermont, it's actually their old army captain general is actually running it. And so they try and bring, you know, friends together to do like a show, and
it's failing, isn't it?
It's failing. He's going bankrupt, and but there's, you know, those two are just BFFs, and then there's the girls, and then the girls, you know, falling off the boys, I can't believe you're not a fan of White Christmas.
I wouldn't say I don't like it, but I'm just like, people rant and rave about White Christmas. I've seen a few productions of it. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, it's nice. The costumes are always nice. There's always a nice couple of dance routines. But I'm just like, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that they are... I love their songs together.
Yeah.
I do like the dynamic between them. And again, I think that they really care for each other. They do.
The two girls in that show also have a brilliant duo. They have that brilliant song, Sisters. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. My last choice, looking down my list, was an easy one, to be honest, and we won't spend very much time on it because we have already mentioned it, and I also am in fear that you're going to cut this podcast short. I cannot do a podcast episode about dynamic duos and not briefly, and I promise it'll be brief, mention Will Parker and Ado Annie, but they are just so class.
Do you know, if you hadn't mentioned them, I would have thought there was something wrong with you.
Were you expecting that from me? Yeah. So this boils back, if you don't remember, listeners, back to Oklahoma, which I am in a deep love of, and Lauren can't stand it. It would have also been on my list for you and me, to be honest.
Interesting.
But I knew you would probably kick me out of the house, so I just haven't added it. But yeah, so that is my final dynamic duo for this episode anyway. But
and it was lovely for you to be here, but we're all going to... No, I'm really joking.
But they're so funny and so hilarious.
They're not really enough, though.
No, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right.
Well, I disagree. I think Will Parker does love Ado, but Ado's a hard girl to tie down. Anyway, moving on really quickly.
Okay. Well, so that's our 5, isn't it?
That's our 5 each, yeah. So 10 in total. Yeah.
It was fun. So, as we mentioned, if we're doing about double acts, we can't really not go into the musical that has the best double act.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. Like, there's definitely no partnership like the producers, and it's Max Bialystock. Did I say that right? Bialystock and Leo Bloom.
Yeah.
Oh, the producers. Shall I tell everybody a little bit about the producers?
Yes, tell us all about the producers.
So, The Producers is a musical comedy with lyrics and music by Mel Brooks. And the book is by Brooks himself and Thomas Meehan. I think I said that right. Anyway, it's an adaptation of the 1967 film of the same name. So the film came first, and then he created the musical. So the story is about two theatrical producers who scheme about creating a flop, a musical that is not going to sell tickets, a flop. Though through some complications, some complications arise whenever it actually turns out to be successful.
Yeah.
So it had 33 previews before it actually opened in 2001.
Is that a lot? That is a lot for a preview,
I feel it is a lot.
What?
Wow. For the fact that it already had an original source material.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's not a brand new concept. I think 33 is a lot, but maybe
it's over
not.
A month, isn't it?
Maybe it's not.
Suppose news shows, what do they do? Like a fortnight of previews, maybe?
Yeah. Well, that's what I...
Yeah, no, fair. Yeah, 33 does seem like a lot, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose maybe new shows or new concepts are off Broadway for a bit, so they maybe do have a lot longer and then they go on. So maybe it's not. Yeah. Maybe we just don't know what we're talking about.
No, you've maybe got a point there. I would never have thought of that.
The original, and I suppose whenever you think about it, it's Nathan Lane and it's Matthew Broderick.
In the musical, yeah.
In the musical, yeah.
But Gene Wilder played Leo Bloom in the movie. I can't remember the other man's name who played Max Bialystock. But those two, in particular, I think their chemistry and their dynamic duo is even better than the Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, who are absolutely sublime, but that original film source,
it's not different. No, it's just there's just a different take to it because it's not all musical. There's only Springtime for Hitler in it, isn't it? I don't think there's anything else.
Well, I'm only saying that because I'm only saying that the film duo is better than the musical duo, because I watched the musical film of it.
The 2005 one?
Yeah, the 2005 one, before I'd actually watched the original.
Oh, okay.
And it's only from them watching the original, the second time I'd seen it, I went, oh God, they're even funnier than Nathan Lane, and I think Gene Wilder has a lot to do with that. Like his,
and I think it's up because it's maybe a bit...
Gene Wilder, did I say Jim?
Oh, Gene?
Gene, okay.
I think it's a bit, it's not so like singy and dancey, and it's a bit more like a straight play with a song in it or film.
Although I did sit watching it going, this is when this song comes in.
Oh, yes, okay.
This is where this song comes in. Yeah,
so it had 2,502 performances and it won 12 Tony Awards.
Yeah, it was a big hit in Broadway. Yeah,
then it went to the West End and it ran for 2 years, and that was in 2004.
Yeah.
And then it had a US and a UK tour.
Yeah.
And then the film came out in 2005, which did star Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. But what I did find out, and I didn't know, in the West End, Roger Debris was played by the lovely Conleth Hill, who is from Belfast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And Peter Kay played him in the UK tour.
Oh, very good.
So I did not know that.
My goodness, that's a big name to have in a UK tour, isn't it?
And I know Jason Manford has played Leo
Bloom
on a UK tour as well.
Okay.
But yeah, my dad's a massive Mel Brooks fan and has actually seen Mel Brooks live as well.
I'd love to see Mel Brooks live.
Massive. So I sort of knew of the producers because I would have watched the film, and then they did go and see it in the West End whenever it was Nathan Lane and Lee Evans.
Oh.
And Dad thought Lee Evans was actually better than Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. I could see that. Like, the physicality of Lee Evans would be so perfect for Leo Bloom.
Yeah. And I then, I don't know if you did it or maybe it was just me. If I didn't get to go and see a show, I then obsessed over the programme, So I remember reading the programme like non-stop whenever they came back. And I loved the fact that Mel Brooks wanted to do a musical comedy from the producers, and he went to Jerry Herman, which you would know for Hello Dolly and Mame and La Cage and Macamable. And he actually refused and told Brooks to do it himself, because he was like, no, you are the best person to do this.
What a clever man too, because that would have been a perfect opportunity for him to go, and let's write another hit. Yeah. And the fact he went, no, do you know what? Actually, you'll do a better job of this. Do it yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It is. Yeah. It's a brilliant musical. I absolutely adore it, because there isn't a line that comes out of any character's mouth which isn't absolutely hilarious. All of the characters are so typically Mel Brooks, over the top, ridiculous. Yeah. The storyline is ridiculous. It just is a laugh a minute, and I absolutely love it. Yeah,
even though, because of what it's talking about. So, I mentioned that they're trying to do a scam, but they're trying to bring like the worst stage musical that they can create. So they find a script that is
the worst script they could find.
Yeah. Which is celebrating Adolf Hitler.
Well, it's called Springtime for Hitler, so it's like glorifying Hitler. They're going, okay, if we do a musical that glorifies Hitler, no one will want to come and see it. It'll close really quickly, and will actually, because that was the whole idea, he realised from clever accounting he could make more money if he opened a show and it closed like almost immediately, and then if he opened a show and it kept running because of the cost to keep the show running and all the rest of it. So they got the worst script. They then they approached like a German Nazi loving person to play Hitler. He then, I broke my leg. He breaks his leg, which then means the really camp gay director plays Hitler himself, camps it up and makes an absolute show of Hitler, like really making fun of him, and then everybody loved it, and that's because why it then became a hit. They then
go, oh, it's a comedy, it's taking the mick, that type of thing.
It's an insult to Hitler, and
But it's interesting that it did have mixed reviews. I think that's. I can see, you're maybe some people don't like the overly, the betrayal of like some of the characters and whatever. But
I think anytime you mention the war or that figure that was Hitler, I think it's a bit controversial. Yeah. But that's what I meant from earlier, like when we were talking about Book of Mormon. Yeah. It's amazing that, because let's be honest, Book of Mormon kind of pokes fun at a religion. Yeah. This pokes fun at a figure that was horrendous in history, but one attracts criticism and the other one doesn't, and it isn't like audiences are really interested.
People can take offense from anything, and I think that and then some people can find things acceptable and not, I don't know, but that's the premise of producers anyway.
It's class,
but it's great.
If you haven't seen it, at least watch the original film and watch the musical movie of it, because I think for a musical movie they did that. Was it 2005 you said? 2000. They did it really well, I thought, and it was quite close to what you would see in the musical anyway. Like it was staged quite similarly. Do you know what I mean?
And I think they used a lot of the actors from the original production in some of the parts.
They did, yeah.
So right. I think everybody that was playing a part, apart from Will Ferrell, is that how he's? I can never say his name.
He plays the German.
Yeah. But everybody else was involved in a production.
That's right.
Or was in it in some way. So there was a real love and a passion and an understanding of all of those characters. So
they knew them inside out and knew how to play them for the laughs. Like,
yeah. Did it teach you anything though? Have you got any musical lyrical lingos?
Some of based on the style of the show, some of mine are just being a bit daft and a bit funny. I learned it's bad luck to say good luck on opening night, because that's a song in it. No, it didn't really. Like we all know. Or listen, us of all people with our superstitions, we know that that's not a thing. A few little language. I learned a few words in different languages in that same number. Actually, it's bad luck to say good luck. Basically, they want to say to every actor as they're going in stage door, good luck, because that's not good. And if they do that, some bad will happen. So I learnt that Scheiss was SH1T, and I didn't realise, well, I don't do German, so Scheiss. Guten Lachen is good luck in German. And then they made sure that they said good luck or something of that in lots of different languages. So there's also a bit of French in the same number. Bonne chance, mon ami, which is good luck, my friends. I think I said that right. Now, I did GCSE French and got an A, but I haven't used it since. So I think that was completely wrong. But I'm sure someone will tell us, because let's be honest, they do.
They do, anyway.
And then there was a wee bit of Italian in there too. Oh, lordy days.
You really learnt it?
It wasn't one of my lines. In Bukalupa ba Fongul, which is good luck, and then F you.
Oh, love it.
So I learnt a little bit, and I also learnt you can make more money from a flop than with a hit, which was one of Leo's lines.
It is.
So, I mean, not a huge amount of musical lyrical lingos. Yeah. Because the way it's written, it's so obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
Bit crude in places. I think that might also have caused more offence than the German aspect, or, you know, the Hitler aspect, maybe. Yeah. It is a wee bit risque, especially when we're talking about Max Bialystock and grannies and stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit... Ooh, just watch it and then you'll understand what we're talking about. Yeah. But it taught me about what a producer was. Okay, yeah. Because, you know, just whenever I was first introduced to it. And I suppose that's always a really, like, funny question. Like, what is a producer and what do they do? And what's their main role? And, you know, so that...
because Leo Bloom actually is an accountant.
He is, he's an accountant.
But he dreams of being a producer, doesn't he?
I want to be a producer.
It's my song. How dare you.
Sorry. It really taught me as well that it's okay to laugh at moments. You know, I think that is the overall arching theme, you know. Yeah, certainly do not forget about all the pain, but it's okay to laugh at, like... Yeah. You can find the humour in almost anything.
Oh, 100. If it is presented in the right way, where... Yes, the material is maybe offensive to some, but the way it is presented wasn't. Yeah. You know, it was very clearly, you know, very well constructed by Mel Brooks. Yeah, so that it, you know,
it's very clever, very clever.
And let's be honest, if you're one of those people who takes offence at you know, touchy subjects like that anyway, you wouldn't be going to a Mel Brooks musical.
Yeah, do you know that's what I mean? You know, you're kind of going to know what you're...
Yeah. You're going to know your thing.
I also learned in this song Betrayed that a Husco is a prison. Yeah. Then just Deutschland was Germany and German. And then a Dixon Tricaderia. Is that right?
You're asking me?
It's a brand of supplies for office. He sings about it in I Want to Be a Producer.
Are you sure?
1000%.
I never sung that line.
Yeah, pretty sure. I'll go and check. Anyway.
Listen, we all know I make lines up. I make lyrics up.
But yeah, so what connections do you have to that musical?
So, well, I've always loved it. Like when I first came across it, I was like, okay, this is hilarious. I instantly fell in love with the duo of Max Bialystock and Leo Bloom. And I said to myself, one day I would love to play Max Bialystock, because he's the bigger, like, heftier of the two. Like, Leo Bloom's a wee weedy accountant doesn't have easy now. There might be accountants listening. You can't call accountants weedy. We'll be cancelled.
I meant like wouldn't say booty a goose.
Yeah. So I always have thought, if I ever get the opportunity to play Max Bialystock, I would jump at it. It just so happened the opportunity was presented to me to play Leo Bloom in an amateur production, and I jumped at it because it's also not the type of show that will be done very often.
No, it doesn't come around very often. For obvious
reasons. Yeah. It's a big gamble for any company. You know, will people come and see a musical like this that may be offensive to some? You know, it's also a huge musical in that the money you would have to throw into it. And there lieth the problem that I experienced. So it was a bit of a baptism of fire. Okay. The production that I did, which was filled with lots of false promises. It never ended up being what we were told it was going to be. But we won't even go into that. I still enjoyed it because of the people I was working with. I worked opposite a really good friend, Paddy, who played Max Bialystock to my Leo Bloom. We had an absolute ball working opposite each other. We're a wee bit like a duo ourselves in like our friendship, you know, so it just fit really nicely on the stage. But I loved my character. I loved playing Leo Bloom. Absolutely adored it. It nearly killed me because he's so physical. He doesn't stop. Yeah. I'll never forget the number. I don't think I've ever had to learn as many lines, like dialogue lines, that I had to learn. And they were tricky as well. And yet they're so cleverly written. You have to get them right. There's no paraphrasing or making them up if you forget a line. Do you know what I mean? Or else people are like, oh, what? Yeah. That doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? So I remember that. But yeah, so that's my link to it.
Yeah. No, that was always one of my regrets, is I think I was heavily pregnant whenever you were doing that, and I didn't get to go and see you.
Yeah.
There was a reason why I couldn't go, and I always thought, I wish I had seen you in that.
It's probably one of the roles I'm most proud of myself, because I put so much work into it, like, because I wanted to do it the best I could, and people laughed. And as you know, I'm a bit of a sucker for comedy roles, and I don't think you're going to get funnier than him, to be honest with you. I really, really loved him. Like, I would love the opportunity to do either of them, either a Max or a Leo again, maybe in a different production.
Yes.
Yeah, it would, but I loved it. I loved my song, I Wanna Be a Producer. But yeah, I enjoyed the audience reaction to it. Yeah,
I think that's it. I think if you're going to put on a production of producers, you almost need to know that you've got a good duo that are going to be able to play that.
Yeah.
You can't put it on that you've got, somebody that's going to play. Actually, all of the characters need to be really well thought out.
And to be fair, they were. Like, that wasn't the issue. The issue was production values, I think. Yeah. But actually, the people they had, like Paddy did a great job as Max. We had a really funny guy who came from Dublin to play Roger Debris, the really camp director. And he was absolute, like, I watched him, because Leo isn't off stage, very like Max or Leo are hardly ever off stage. That's what also made it so difficult. But there was like one, like I think the beginning of Act 2, which was Roger Debris' song that we weren't on, and like I just watched from the wings every night and watched Carl doing his thing, and he was absolutely hilarious. Like, so yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was, however, you see, up until our Bugsy episode, I didn't really think I was one that was prone to hissy fits.
Oh, well, sure, we all know
or
you
tantrums. So I don't remember that as a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
But I do remember the almighty, and it's the only time I recall of throwing a hissy fit.
What?
Yeah, I completely lost it one day, yeah. Because we got into the theatre, which wasn't the theatre that we were told we were going to be playing in for a start.
Oh, okay, that's
then we got in, and the set wasn't there, and then was very slowly was built around us. And then when it was built, there was like steps up, but the steps were uneven. So like the depth of the steps were different.
Okay.
And there was bits where like Leo Bloom was up and down the steps like a blue arse fly. And because the steps were so uneven, and I was having to go at speed, I crumpled and fell going up the steps one night, and I just lost it going, this is ridiculous. Like, we need to sort these steps out, or I'm going to, like, somebody's going to break their leg. So, and I do remember, because I'm normally quite a good boy in rehearsals, and
but I mean, that's understandable for something like that where you could get hurt.
It was just ridiculous. But yeah, so I remember my hissy fit. I also remember my colleagues from work coming. And it's a risky show for your work colleagues to come to.
Do you ever tell other people who are not involved in theatrical productions?
And I don't think I did.
Okay.
So I think they found out, and because I didn't know they were coming, and then they were there. But anybody who doesn't know the musical, Leo Bloom, because of his anxiety and his nervous disposition, like has a blue blankie, which is like he kind of like rubs under his chin and like feels his ears with it just to soothe him and comfort him. So it plays a big part, and it's used quite a lot when he's in a he gets very irate very quickly, bit like me in rehearsals. I think I maybe just became my character in that show. Maybe. So, but when my colleagues came to see it, they originally thought, I bring it out and sniff it and like put it under my chin. They thought it was a pair of blue knickers that I pulled. So they spent the first half thinking I was sniffing and rubbing these blue knickers under my chin, and I was like, "No, it was a hanky." And they were like, "Oh, we really thought you were just sniffing your blue knickers."
That is hilarious.
Isn't that? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't hilarious at the time. I was
make it really different if it was a pair of knickers.
Oh, God, he'd be a creep.
I know. That's what I'm like.
And Leo's not a creep. Bless him, he's a wee naive, tender wee thing.
A pair of knickers.
Anyway, do you have a standing ovation from the show?
I can't separate them.
Really?
I love how angry Max gets whenever he's sent to prison, you know. That betrayal song is wonderful.
That's my standing ovation.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's another one of in the top 10 songs.
So anybody who doesn't know the musical, they basically get caught out. So the show's a hit, which then means their fraud is showing up. Leo, my character, does one and runs off to Rio.
That's right.
With the beautiful Swedish blonde. And Max gets sent to jail. And when he's in jail, he sings a song Betrayed, where he basically recounts, every minute of the show in this pitter-patter, number that is endless for about 5-6 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mm. Or even the writing in that is just fab.
And he doesn't miss one bit. Mm-mm. In a show that so much happens, the storyline is insane.
It's a very fast-paced, very, you almost you need to be awake for it. And if you're not awake, then it's going to make you awake. You know,
exactly.
You're like, It's just everything going on.
But it's absolute genius writing from Mel Brooks. And for a performer to pull that off, which Paddy did, was, is wow.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, really good.
It's a great musical. Yeah, definitely check it out in all those different ways.
It's really good. I would love a production of it to come, because there hasn't been a tour for a long time. It hasn't been in the West End for a while. It would be nice for it to get a wee bit of a revival. Yeah, there hasn't been anything, I think, pre-2010, I don't think. Right, okay, yeah. So yeah, time, producers, if you're listening out there, bring back the producers, please. Yeah, I would like to see it. Okay, that just leaves us with our dynamic duos. Yeah, that's true. Partnerships that we think we would give a good old crack at. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited. Okay, I'm not going to say that this is. Well, I think we mentioned it in the Annie episode. So Brewster and Miss Hannigan. That's on my list. But I don't want that to be one of my 5, so I'm just mentioning it. Oh, you're just throwing that out there? I'm just throwing that out there. I think that's breaking the rules, but okay. Okay, and I also did have Ado Annie and Will Parker. You did have it on your list, and I kept it off my list because I thought you'd kick me. I know, and I did it for you because that's how much I love you. Friendship, isn't it? Friendship. But okay, I'll go with my main one. All right. I think that you and I would be really good as Seymour and Audrey. Oh. In Little Shop. Yeah. I can see that. I'd love that. Yeah, that would be a good one. Slightly different, but... Yeah. Yeah, perfect. That's a perfect one. So that's my first one. Okay. Somewhere that's green. It's not out of Little Shop. Yeah. I could be a nerdy Seymour. Yeah. You'd have to get your leather. You'd have to get the leather print out for Audrey. And a very squeaky voice. Yep. My first one is Nathan Detroit and Adelaide from Guys and Dolls. Oh, that would be nice. I think we could do that wee duo together. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So me, what can you do me? I love you. Very good. Love it. Okay, I think we could do Moonface and Reno Sweeney. Yes, that's on my list too. Is it? But back to what I was saying earlier, Reno, Moonface could be Moonface and Reno. Yes. Or it could also be Moonface and Bonnie or Irma, whatever you call them. But I think Reno and Moonface. Yeah. What's their song they do? Friendship. Just a perfect friendship. Very good. My next one would be Monsieur and Madame Thénardier in Les Mis. I have that too! Yeah, you see, we are just too similar. We know each other well. Definitely. I think we could do, we'd give it a good old shot. Master of the House. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had that last as my Oh, I'm so sorry, Stola.
No. I've got plenty. I've actually got loads.
I used to dream that I would meet a prince. For goodness gracious, have you
seen what's happened since?
Very good. So, your turn?
I think that you and me would make do a very good production of Into the Woods, The Baker and His Wife.
Oh my goodness, that's a big one. I couldn't sing all the Baker stuff.
But I think that we would be good at it.
Yeah.
We could talk it. Yeah. Mime it.
Yeah. The baker's wife gets a bit fed up with the baker. Are you saying you're getting a bit fed up with me all this time we're spending together?
No, I just,
Yeah.
I think we could do it in a different way as well. Yeah, Baker and His Wife.
Very good. What else do I have? Oh, I thought we could do... We might be a wee bit old first, but I'm going to say it anyway, because hey-ho. Dawn and Augie out of Waitress. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh my... Augie, sorry. Dawn and Augie. So Dawn works in the Waitress... Okay. And basically Augie starts talking to her on like an online app, but the two of them are so daft and a bit peculiar that they're really funny.
Okay, I must check that out.
Yeah, do check it out. They've got... What have they got? I think one of their songs is called I Love You Like a Table.
Oh, okay.
Like, really ridiculous. And hers is, she sings a song about, but what if he's like a murderer?
Oh, okay.
Like, both of them are hilarious. And then when they do get together, it's like comedy goals. Like, it's brilliant.
Okay, I must check that out.
That's a wee modern one for you. There you go.
Okay, and then my final one, which we're definitely too old for.
Okay.
But I do think it's a wee bit of us. Is Janice and Damien from Mean Girls.
Oh, stop. Like, his number, I want to be him.
Yeah. I think that I have watched a couple of slime tutorials.
Okay.
You know, if you know, you know. If you know.
We all love a wee bootleg.
And there's not like, it's not like that they have like a duet or anything together.
Yeah.
But like that, like where should you say, what's that song called? Like where...
Is that not kind of us anyway?
I know, it kind of is. And it's just because Mean Girls was like 2003.
Not that we're Mean Girls, we're not Mean Girls.
It was 2003 and we were still in high school then, not the musical, but the film.
Like, back then I would have had no problem getting up and doing a musical number in the middle of the canteen.
I know.
Like, happens in Mean Girls.
And, I've always just had resting bitch face. Always look like I'm a bit moody. So
that is a brilliant one for us. That is so us.
But I wonder, is there a way that we could turn it into like not school,
plus
but like
15 years on,
workplace Mean Girls or something? Is there a way that we could do it?
I love that one. That's class.
Yeah.
Do you know what? My last two aren't as good as that one, so I'm going to leave them unsaid, I think.
No, why?
Because that's a great one to finish on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my two would be an anticlimax because they're supporting roles, darling.
Oh, okay. We're not supporters.
We're not supporting roles. How dare you? What?
Can't you imagine?
Yeah. No, thank you. Next.
Don't waste my time.
Do you know who you're talking to?
You're fired.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're showing our true colours now.
We went off from one there, didn't we?
That's your last option has excited me. Like that's
so if anybody wants to rewrite Mean Girls for the two,
I'm saying plus 15 years. Maybe need to go stretch 20.
I know.
29. Yeah.
If there's a way that we could do that, but also if there's a way that we could do maybe any of them, I would definitely Les Mis.
Yeah. Yeah,
not be in Les Mis, but just to give that.
But even because I will probably talk about Les Mis as an episode.
Oh yeah.
But like, I like those characters because they don't do an awful lot throughout the show. Like they come on and have their moment, which is memorable, and then they kind of spend the majority of the time. That might be wrong. People who have done that role maybe spend much more time in the show than.
Oh no, I think that is right. I'm sure we will learn that, but.
Yeah,
I don't think once your character dies in Les Mis, you go to the back and you're part of somebody.
You become ensemble person number 4. Yeah. Third to the right,
knock it till you've tried it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was good. That was fun.
Very good. Slightly different this week. It just shows the power of a good old dynamic duo in a musical.
Yeah.
Very good. Back to normal services next week.
Yeah. Do you want to give a wee clue?
What are we doing next week? Well... Oh, that's a bit obvious, that one, isn't it?
Yeah,
might go to Spain next week.
Oh.
Might go to Spain next week. There we go. There'll be no rain in Spain. That's not totally giving it away now.
Totally. Well, that was great.
You caught me off guard there. I wasn't prepared for that one this week.
Well, join us next week where we may or may not be in Spain.
Oh, wouldn't that be a dream? However, to be fair, it's probably just as warm here.
True.
Right. Enough. I'm going outside to sunbathe.
Okay. Enjoy.
Bye.